Here's a brief tour of the Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary in Candy Kitchen, New Mexico. We took this during our journey across America for animal welfare. And some of these wolves were rescued and transported from California, very similar to the goals of our Storm Dog Rescue Project.
What our mission here is to provide permanent sanctuary to wild canids who are subject to from the pet industry. So we have a collection of different species of canid here, but they all have one thing in common, and that thing in common is that they all were from the pet industry in some way. They were all from people's backyards, backyard breeders, from shelters, from, sometimes they actually are found in the wild after the owners had abandoned them. The point is that none of these animals make good pets, and they are sometimes legal to be kept as pets. So our mission is to rescue them from situations where they are in danger and give them permanent sanctuary for the rest of their lives. You have Mr. Kabbalah, who is right here, ready to say hi, super excited, to have people admire him and look at him and talk about him, loves the spotlight, whereas Mystique wants nothing to do with the spotlight. She's acting this way out of nervousness. But he knows that there's a barrier, he knows what tours are, he knows that no one's going to come in and invade his personal space. But overall, these animals are very, very, very painfully shy by nature. That's just the way that they are. And the reason is because they are, we are their natural predators. They're one and only. We want to kind of display them in the correct light, that they're not man-eaters, that they're actually quite scared of humans, that they're extremely important to the ecosystem, that they aren't pets. We were able to, when that breeder decided, okay, well, I'm not making enough money off of these animals, I'm done with breeding them and I don't want them anymore, we were able to go rescue the rejects that, he didn't want to sell, that he didn't want. So we went out and rescued 2 litters and raised them together. So you'll see a lot of Arctics here that look very similar. It's because they all have the same parents. This is a great place for them. It's not the best. The best is being out in the wild. That's where they belong. Since that's not possible, this is the next best thing, but it is still a prison. As you can see, another Arctic wolf. Arctic wolves come from the Arctic Circle only. They do not live in the same areas of gray wolves or timber wolves. Shark. When you're in this enclosure and he's interested in you, there isn't a drop of aggression in him. There isn't any aggression in any of these animals at all. There is, however, a curiosity about humans. We were afraid that he would nip someone as a pet and be put down. So we were able to rescue him from his owner to keep him from happening. Hi, Shy. Hello. Yeah, what a good girl. So she's a talker. She likes to hear herself speak. Hello. You talk? You good girl? So as she gets older and older, she actually gets whiter and whiter. So just like we gray, they do too. And that's actually a coyote, that screech. Howling is gossip. So this is Mr. Teton. Teton and Shasta. So these 2 are very, very different from everyone else here. And you're also very lucky to see them up this close, because if there wasn't something going on over there, I promise you they would not be here. And as you can see, they care very little about us. They're not afraid of us, and yet they don't care. We didn't raise them. And Teton and Argo are each other's nemesis. And it's simply because they're both boys and they're right next to each other. So that means they're both separate packs of wolves, or wolf dogs, and they really, really enjoy just kind of proving themselves to one another. So that marking is him saying, I'm the boss of this side. It's like 2 teenagers that drew a line in the middle of their bedroom and fight over who crossed the line. That's exactly what's going on right here. They start out black when they're a year or 2 old, and then they start phasing out into silver. As you can see, he's quite an elderly gentleman. Mackay is the same. She's not a black-faced timber wolf, but she actually used to be more the coloration of Coda. So as you can see, they're pretty different from one another. We have Mr. Glacier, who is the blonde dingo here. And we have Ozzy and Uluru, and that's Mama in the back. She was actually born in Australia, and she was part of a conservation program. That conservation program is designed to responsibly breed dingoes in captivity for the purpose of one day reintroducing the species into their native habitats. So by that I mean, in Australia, their plight is very similar to our coyote in that they are poisoned and trapped and hunted often. They are a very misunderstood top predator of that region. They came to America, were placed into a foster home in Florida, and then someone who was responsible for them decided to illegally breed them on the side. And the way he got caught is he posted about it on Facebook, which is basically going to the police and saying, hey, I did something illegal. So, you can't import, export, own, breed, sell dingoes in this country. You can, however, own a tiger in Texas.